Indrajeet, so first of all, welcome to INS.
Pleasure is mine.
So, talking about the ideas, how did you got this idea that you should make it on screen for the movies? How did you
Jai
got
Hind,
the
see, Jai Hind Jai Sindh is basically a love story of a young couple in romance, in love, and in the backdrop of partition. It's about three generations, about a grandfather and grandson. And of course, it's a mainstream film with an ensemble cast of Mahesh Manjrekar, Jayaprada, ma'am, and Indira Tiwari, Rahul Dev. Then there is Vikram Kochhar. Then it's a huge star cast with four young, new, talented actors, and it's on a very big canvas. The film has come out really well, and it's about patriotism, it's about nationalism, it's about love for the country, and basically it's the pain what the Sindhis went through during the partition. Everything is on this canvas like a painting, with a beautiful young love story in the foreground.
So, talking about the title, it represents both patriotism and identity. So, according to you, what is patriotism meaning? And country को love करना या यूथ को difficult questions पूछना patriotism का part है.
Yeah, patriotism is love for the country, respect for the country, and integrity for the country. And of course, there's a lot of history for our country. And one of the chapters in this history is, of course, partition, which is a very kind of a painful kind of a history, I can say, painful kind of the pages in history, where a lot of people lost their lands, lost their families, lost their children, lost their fathers, and lost everything. In fact, when the partition happened, a lot of people from Pakistan came over to India, and one of the community was Sindhis. And with this backdrop, of course, Sindhis, I really feel for them because what they went through, it's not just what they went through. Of course, they're still fighting for their identity because they belong to the Pakistan, the Sindh, which is the part of Pakistan now. But before it was India, they were Indians and they are Indians now. And they are our brothers, sisters. But still, their forefathers, their grandparents, their land, their home, everything is in Pakistan. So that's the reason why I say that it's a very painful chapter in our pages of history of India, that I still feel that Sindhis deserve better. They want their land back, and Sindh belongs to India because Sindh has got so much of history, so much of culture. In fact, Sufi music was introduced by the Sindhis. I'm in love with their culture, and with a lot of pain and with a lot of sadness, I should say that it has been a part of Pakistan. But if I could change the pages, if I could change the pages of history, Sindh should be brought back to India because it belongs to India, and Sindhis belong to India, and Indians are Sindhis are part of India and Indians.
So, talking about today's time, talking about patriotic films, audience have become more sensitive about it. So, during the making of the film, how did you took a balance between entertainment and message?
A beautiful question. See, it's of course it's sensitive. When somebody is fighting for their identity, when they're fighting for their history, when they're fighting for their forefathers, it is a very sensitive issue, and that is part of the film. That is the backdrop of the film, and it is told in a narrative that today's Gen Z and the younger generation are going to get a very good message of that. In India, we have to all live together, and we should share love, not just like our neighbors fight for the religion, fight for the land, and fight for selfishness. We should not be going to that kind of a border where we can't share love. India is such a beautiful place with different cultures, different languages, different religions, different parts of India, with linguistic differences. They all come together and live as one. That is what is India about, and that's the message what we are going to give to the younger generation and the Gen Z today.
So during making of the film, do you feel that in any movement that the subject sensitivity will be you have to rethink about it because
No way. See, as a director, I've done a lot of films with romance, whether it's a comedy or whether it's biopic, and now, of course, about partition and the history. As a director, you have to tell the sensitive stories. You have to make stories which are challenging, which are sensitive, which has to be told. And if a director doesn't want to get into any the sensitive issues, or if he can't tell a story what he has to say, then he shouldn't be a director.
talking about social media era, so audience is judging every film. So as a filmmaker, do you think that public perceptions pressure is more in today's film?
No, see, social media is an amazing platform for the younger generation where the media is in the hands of the common man and media is in the hands of the Gen Z. So that's what it is. Me being a journalist, I realized that very soon that before the journalism and the voice of the fourth estate was with only the journalist, a very few people in the kind of a fourth estate. But now journalism and the voice is with the youth, with the public, with the common man. That is what the magic of social media is. But of course, social media sometimes it gets misguided. Of course, you've seen that false information going in. But in the larger perspective, me being a journalist and a filmmaker, I welcome the decision of the journalism and the voice is gone to the common man and the public. That's the beauty of social media, where you can kind of have a freedom of speech. Even a man sitting in a village in Sindh or in India or in Punjab or in Karnataka, he's got his voice from his village. He can kind of say what he wants to. That's the real freedom of speech what we were looking for.
So in today's time, do you think that what is the responsibility of the filmmaker to entertain the audience or to raise an uncomfortable questions, yeah, or to maintain a balance between these two?
See, films have is an extension of street plays, where street plays were not just entertainment. The street plays was started where you could take out your anger and give in a strong message. That's how the street plays became into plays, dramas, and dramas became into visual celluloid and became movie. So in the finally, cinema also has to be like a street play where you can vent out your anger or a message through the entertainment medium. Of course, in 2.5 hours, if you're sitting in a theater and just preaching or giving in moral science, nobody would listen to it or it won't get influenced. In that kind of a format, in those corners of a square, you have to entertain the people at the same time. You have to give in what your message is, what you want to say in those 2.5 hours. That's the challenge of a director.
Okay. So when you choose a story to make a film, sir, what are the things that what is your creative instinct? Is it about the story or audience ka dhyan?
See, always I've been in this industry for 26 years. I've done a lot of South films. I've introduced a lot of young talent. Through those young talent, I've created a stage for them. All my films, most of my films are youngsters. I've given them the platform to perform, to express. But at the same time, I've made films because I wanted to say something. If I didn't want to tell a story, I've never made a film. In fact, sometimes I've not made a film for 3 years. But at the same time, I've made films, 2 films in 1 year. If I want to tell a story, I've just come forward and told the story because it has to be told.
So, talking about the actors who are working in your films, how is it working with Jayaprada? Once again, she is back in your films.
Yeah, of course, she's making a comeback with Jai Hind Jai Sindh.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure because I've grown up watching her films with Dr. Rajkumar sir. That was a fantastic film called Sanadi Apparna. It's a biopic on a Sanadi. Sanadi is a pipe. So it's about a biopic on him, and Jayaprada ma'am played an amazing role of a dancer in that film. It was a super duper blockbuster hit in South, and I grew up watching those kind of films of Jayaprada ma'am, and then of course Sharabi. Who can forget Sharabi with Bachchan sir? We all were in college when we watched that, and now for me to direct her for a comeback film It's a pleasure, it's an honor that I've kind of just told action and cut for her. It's a dream come true. And apart from that, it's an ensemble cast of Mahesh Manjrekar. There is Rahul Dev. There is Indira Tiwari. Of course, Indira Tiwari, I loved her in Gangubai. Then there's Vikram Kochhar, who I watched Donkey and in fact loved his performance. So there's a lot of senior actors, NSD actors, National School of Drama actors. Then Mahesh Manjrekar sir is the senior most of them all, and the young generation of actors whom this platform is huge for them because they are newcomers, two girls and two boys in the kind of foreground. They are the main characters in the film, which is a huge breakthrough for them, which I've been doing all my life, giving the youngsters a platform and a career or maybe a stage to express.
So in future, if you get an opportunity, will you be making a feature film on Gauri Lankesh?
That's a challenge. Of course, Gauri Lankesh's story cannot be told in a very surface level. We have to go deep, and whether it's the right atmosphere, I don't know. But Gauri Lankesh, as a sister, she was not just my sister; she was a mother for me. And apart from that, she didn't have any enemies at all. And all her fights were through ideology, through journalism. But it's very sad that she got killed and she died in this kind of a way, which I can't even still digest that she's no more. Because I still feel that she's somewhere out of station or out of the country. She's still with me. She's living in a different state, a different country. I can't come to the kind of conclusion that she's no more because she died so early at 55. I can't even guess or I can't even think for a second that she's not with me. And she was loved. She was loved by everyone. And she was, of course, a very aggressive activist and a journalist. Apart from that, she didn't have any enemies. I can vouch for it. But the way she kind of ended her life, it's a disaster, and it can't happen in the India I know.
So lastly, if a film is being made on her, sir, do you think that it will be on her assassination? Will make the central point on that, or
No, no.
the whole life of us will be focused?
No, see, Gauri Lankesh film is a very complex story which I don't know whether I can handle it as a director. Of course, it's a story to be told. A Gauri Lankesh story has to be told to the people of what she went through and what she stood for. And as a brother, I know what she stood for and how her soul was so clean and pure. And she always fought for the right of the people, for the secularism, for the communal harmony. And I feel sorry the way she had to be ending her life, but I can't still digest. I've been telling you this, but I don't know whether this can happen in India. I know because India is a place where love is shared. But the story about Gauri Lankesh, I, as a director, as a brother, I don't think I can do justice to it. Somewhere, someone from the outside can tell a story. And I don't even know whether it's the right atmosphere to be told Gauri's story. Maybe the right time and the right place and the right kind of situation in the country has to come to tell a story. Because right now, I don't know whether Gauri Lankesh's story can be told with all the freedom.
Lastly, sir, what is the one message you have to give to the people who will be going to see your movies? Jai Hind, Jai Sindh.
See, Jai Hind Jai Sindh is a film with a strong message. At the same time, it is entertaining, and it's a film with some amazing talent, an ensemble cast, a huge canvas, and it's a love story with the backdrop of Partition.